Second variety, part 3. In there. The ruins? Yes. Underground? Yes. How many are there? How many? How many of you? How big's your settlement? The boy did not answer. Hendricks frowned. You're not all by yourself, are you? The boy nodded. How do you stay alive? There's food. What kind of food? Different. Hendricks studied him. How old are you? 13. It wasn't possible. Or was it? The boy was thin, stunted, and probably sterile. Radiation exposure, years straight. No wonder he was so small. His arms and legs were like pipe cleaners, knobby and thin. Hendricks touched the boy's arm. His skin was dry and rough. Radiation skin. He bent down, looking into the boy's face. There was no expression. Big eyes, big and dark. Are you blind? Hendricks said. No, I can see some. How do you get away from the claws? The claws? The round things that run and burrow. I don't understand. Maybe there weren't any claws around. A lot of areas were free. They collected mostly around bunkers where there were people. The claws had been designed to sense warmth of living things. You're lucky, Hendricks straightened up. Well, which way are you going? Back? Back there? Can I come with you? With me? Hendricks folded his arms. I'm going a long way. Miles. I have to hurry. He looked at his watch. I have to get there by nightfall. I want to come. Hendricks fumbled in his pack. It isn't worth it. Here. He tossed down the food cans he had with him. You take these and go back, okay? The boy said nothing. I'll be coming back this way in a day or so. If you're around here when I come back, you can come along with me, all right? I want to come with you now. It's a long walk. I can walk. Hendricks shifted uneasily. It made too good a target, two people walking along, and the boy would slow him down. But he might not come back this way, and if the boy were really all alone... Okay, come along. The boy fell in beside him. Hendricks strode along. The boy walked silently, clutching his teddy bear. What's your name? Hendricks said after a time. David Edward Daring. David, what happened to your mother and father? They died. How? In the blast. How long ago? 6 years. Hendricks slowed down. You've been alone 6 years? No, there were other people for a while. They went away. And you've been alone since? Yes. Hendricks glanced down. The boy was strange, saying very little, withdrawn. But that was the way they were, the children who had survived, quiet, stoic. A strange kind of fatalism gripped them. Nothing came as a surprise. They accepted anything that came along. There was no longer any normal, any natural course of things, moral or physical, for them to expect. Custom, habit, all the determining forces of learning were gone. Only brute experience remained. "Am I walking too fast?" Hendricks said. "No." "How did you happen to see me?" "I was waiting." "Waiting?" Hendricks was puzzled. "What were you waiting for?" "To catch things." "What kind of things?" "Things to eat." "Ah," Hendricks set his lips grimly. A 13-year-old boy living on rats and gophers and half-rotten canned food. Down in a hole under the ruins of a town, with radiation pools and claws and Russian drive mines up above, coasting around in the sky. "Where are we going?" David asked. "To the Russian lines." "Russian?" "The enemy. The people who started the war. They dropped the first radiation bombs. They began all this." The boy nodded. His face showed no expression. "I'm an American," Hendricks said. There was no comment. On they went, the two of them. Hendricks walking a little ahead, David trailing behind him, hugging his dirty teddy bear against his chest. About 4 in the afternoon they stopped to eat. Hendricks built a fire in a hollow between some slabs of concrete. He cleared the weeds away and heaped up bits of wood. The Russians' lines were not very far ahead. Around him was what had once been a long valley, acres of fruit trees and grapes. Nothing remained now but a few bleak stumps and the mountains that stretched across the horizon at the far end, and the clouds of rolling ash that blew and drifted with the wind, settling over the weeds and remains of buildings. Walls here and there, once in a while, what had been a road. Hendricks made coffee and heated up some boiled mutton and bread. "Here," he handed bread and mutton to David. David squatted by the edge of the fire, his knees knobby and white. He examined the food and then passed it back, shaking his head. "No." "No? Don't you want any?" "No." Hendricks shrugged. Maybe the boy was a mutant, used to special food. It didn't matter. When he was hungry, he would find something to eat. The boy was strange. But there were many strange changes coming over the world. Life was not the same anymore. It would never be the same again. The human race was going to have to realize that. "Suit yourself," Hendricks said. He ate the bread and mutton by himself, washing it down with coffee. He ate slowly, finding the food hard to digest. When he was done, he got to his feet and stamped the fire out. David rose slowly, watching him with his young, old eyes. "We're going," Hendricks said. "All right." Hendricks walked along, his gun in his arms. They were close. He was tense, ready for anything. The Russians should be expecting a runner, an answer to their own runner. But they were tricky. There was always the possibility of a slip-up. He scanned the landscape around him. Nothing but slag and ash. A few hills, charred trees, concrete walls. But some place ahead was the first bunker of the Russian lines, the forward command. Underground, buried deep with only a periscope showing, a A few gun muzzles, maybe an antenna. "Will we be there soon?" David asked. "Yes. Getting tired?" "No." "Why then?" David did not answer. He plodded carefully along behind, picking his way over the ash. His legs and shoes were grey with dust. His pinched face was streaked, lines of grey ash in rivulets down the pale white of his skin. There was no colour to his face, typical of the new children growing up in cellars and sewers and underground shelters. Hendricks slowed down. He lifted his field glasses and studied the ground ahead of him. Were they there someplace, waiting for him? Watching him, the way his men had watched the Russian runner? A chill went up his back. Maybe they were getting their guns ready, preparing to fire the way his men had prepared, ready to kill.